I always loved to eat.
Yeah, me too.
And food was always very, very important. My two grandmothers were incredible from scratch cooks, and I just loved to eat, and not thinking about food and being a personal chef or a farm-to-table cooking teacher, I just kind of took to it. I remember going to my first natural food store, and this was back in the late 70s where there weren't any natural food cookbooks. I would go to the natural food store and I would see beans and grains for the first time. And I would say, well, what is this and how do you cook it? And I would come home and I started writing lists of ingredients because I was teaching movement sciences and education and sports. So I really got interested in eating organically, and I would go out of my way to get organic. And then I started thinking more about local and started talking and teaching and speaking at places and realized I needed to have my own organic garden.
What is it that you like about working with food and like growing your own food? Like what's important to you about that?
Well, I really, really enjoy it. There's a lot of work to do, so it's physical. I hand dig the beds and I mix in the compost. I still love that athleticism of it. And then I love being able to go out and graze. I love being able to go out and nibble. I love being able to go out and mix and match, improvise. Like, oh, this is what's in season, this is what's in my garden, this is what's for lunch.
Is there something to learn from that, you think? I mean, as opposed from like getting your food from a grocery store, do you think it gives you a different perspective about like what you're putting in your body? Or
Yeah, I love having a direct connection with where my food and who grows my food. So if you go into a big box store, you know, you're in this concrete structure. You're very removed from the earth. So a lot of people say, oh, I just went down there and I got a great price on something. And I'm like, not for me.
Yeah.
Because I want the nourishment of the atmosphere. So when I go to my CSA, I might spend 2 hours gathering because I want to pick my own. I want to take in the nourishment of nature. I want to ooh and ah of what's in season, what's coming. And I also love picking my food, and that love goes into whatever I'm cooking. And that's part of the flavor, part of the most yummy ingredient.
How did you get involved with Meagan's film, and what did you think when she first told you about it?
I thought, this sounds like fun.
Yeah.
You know, I'm very comfortable with my body. I'm very sensual, and breast health and food go together for sure. And I thought, yeah, why not?
Do you think there's a direct connection between diet and breast health specifically?
Absolutely. When you take poisons and you put them in the earth, you can't possibly think that poison's going to go away and be really healthy. When you put your sensual, loving hands on food and then you put it in your mouth and you take the time to chew and enjoy and have a luscious experience, that is also nourishment and nutrition for your soul, for your being, as much as like how many grams of fat it has.
Yeah, people have gotten very into like the numbers game, which I'm sort of suspicious of. I don't get any of that. It's kind of a weird way to think about your food.
I think it's also politically driven. I remember when I was teaching sports and the philosophy of movement and dance, and my neighbor was studying nutrition, and this was back in 1977. And I said to myself, that's it. That's what I want to know. And then I talked to her about her course of studies, and it was all chemistry. And I knew that the dairy industry was sponsoring certain nutrition studies. And I said, no, I'm not interested in a master's in that. I want to know how to cook the food.
So for you, it was really this leap from sports to food was really the interest in the body and how, like, what am I putting in my body? How does that affect my movement or how my body's functioning?
Well, it's that for sure. For me, it's like, okay, so this is nutritious. So yes, I want to try that. And yes, I want to make it delicious. And yes, if you become a client of mine and I'm cooking for you, I want to make sure that I'm making food that enhances your health and well-being. But if it's not delicious, then I'm not interested.
Yeah.
I think everybody's constitution will definitely determine what is good for them too.
So so I guess what you're saying is it's not just like you have to eat this because it's healthy. It's also about like, but I actually enjoy eating this, or I like this and it's healthy.
I think people should think about real food and seek out food that's fresh. Seek out food that's grown with love. Seek out food that has the least amount of packaging. Seek out food that they're attracted to.
What do you think, like, changing how you're thinking about food or thinking about what you're eating, how do you think that changes how you're perceiving your body?
Interesting. For me, it's very sensual. It's really about taking the time. And I remember many years ago in a mindfulness exercise, how many times can you chew that raisin? So I think it's really about slowing down. Again, I think of cooking and eating as a means of self-expression and a way of really being alive.